I think one advantage of the time we had in lockdown was the ability to spend time focusing internally on ourselves. And so I, went through everything with a fine-tooth comb. And when it comes to fueling and hydration, I spent the time using the long sessions where we were pretty much training alone to focus very much so on what I needed and my fueling and hydration plan. So I can come out the other side ready for racing and having that slight advantage wherever I can. Particularly with something as important as fuel and hydration. I came out of short course triathlon having literally no idea about fueling and hydration, and I made some big mistakes early on with moving into middle distance triathlon. And I think from that I learned very early that it's important to at least start with a plan, and then from there you can refine it. A lot of people often ask me, what do you eat for an Ironman or whatever, but it's very individual, the volume of nutrition that you actually need. And so the only way to actually know that is to start somewhere and then work out where you didn't go wrong, and then practice it at longer training sessions and in races until you slowly refine what you need. So it's becoming more important now that we actually do know exactly what those numbers are, and to be able to know that is to record it and to understand it and then assess it and then move forward. I think using calculators and those sort of things is now a necessity. If we want to go as fast as we're starting to go consistently as well, we need to know exactly what we're having and then work forwards to making that the most optimized strategy for the individual. So I think over time I've discovered that I'm not reaching my potential at the back end of the marathon, and so I've gone through and analysed you start analysing everything, of course. It's like, am I as efficient as I can be on the bike and everything else? And then I guess at the end of the day, energy in is kind of is what drives energy out. And the earlier you can start eating and consuming foods and things was something that I started to look at. And then I started assessing exactly how much calories I was taking in per hour and when. And so, we started looking at, I was sort of only having sort of 50 to 60 carbs an hour, and the sort of people can tolerate a lot more. And so we looked at how I could integrate more eating into mostly on the bike, and so we started to kind of like push in more gels, more liquid foods as well, and so we were able to lift that up to closer to 70-80 grams of carbs per hour. And I think it's led to me feeling way more consistent throughout the marathon, and then you sort of sandbag early then, and so that it's sometimes harder to eat solids and things on the run. But that sort of process of understanding where I was at helps me to know where I'm moving to and the timing of the food during the race. And so now I feel I'm at a point where I've maximised how much I can have, and it's just being disciplined and then refining exactly what I am having to make sure that that's all getting, absorbed and helping me to sort of stay fueled throughout the entirety of an Ironman. So I think with a lot of my experiences as an athlete, we learn that certain sessions are more important than others, and so we have benchmark sessions, and typically it's our brick day. We have a long sort of 3-hour ride that builds towards sort of race intensity or above that, and then we hit the track for a non-stop run of 800 on, 200 off, up to 30 kilometres of that. And so that day is usually, we often do shorter versions of it, but when we get up to the longer versions of it, that's when you start to notice where your fitness really is at, and you can't hide. Especially when you start to do it at altitude and in hot conditions as well, leading into some of the major races. And the main thing on those days, though, as well, is to take this, your processes for your fuel and your hydration, and then make sure that you're doing them as you would do on race day. It's a virtual simulation, so you can't get it right without all the pieces of the puzzle, and that includes all your fueling and hydration. And so, that's really, for me, if I can walk away from that with the certain time cycles of my running around the track on the money, we know that we're ready to go. And it's only possible, having done it several times before, to sort of build up to the level that we need to be at. But all the experience from my past performances has, given us the key indicators as to what that will then transpose to on race day. I've continually refined my racing over my career, and even over the last few years, I've still seen improvements in my swimming. I've gotten quicker, and we're getting out in the front pack now. There's a lot of opportunity with the faster bike groups and everything else to then improve the run, and so I still believe that my best is still yet to come.